Great team win on a back-to-back. We had 7 players in double figures, 30 assists. I thought in the first half our defense was lacking. Our physicality was not very good. Our communication and execution of the scheme was not very good. But credit to our guys, they dug in at halftime, upped the physicality and the energy, aggressiveness on the defensive end, and continued to move the ball on the offensive end. I think, tonight on the offensive end was another example of we're hard to guard when the ball moves because you can't key in on one person. So proud of the guys. Winning on a back-to-back is not easy. And we're ready to go on the road.
Start with the defense, and obviously Anthony Davis had a lot of success in that first half, and then you guys kind of did some weight doubling in the second, and I guess what did end up working to kind of slow him down a little bit?
Yeah, I thought in the second half, Lowry, who was the primary matchup, did a much better job on the ball, not letting Anthony Davis's first dribble get so deep in the lane. I thought in the first half, his initial move just got too deep, and so it was hard for us to help. I thought Lowry did a great job in the second half of using his physicality and his foot speed to kind of catch that first dribble, and it allowed his teammates to come help him.
You mentioned before the game there's a chance that there's human nature, there's complacency potentially. How do you think your guys handled that tonight?
I thought they did great. I thought they just stayed with it. 48 minutes is a long time. The Lakers played very well in the first half, and we were not at our best on the defensive end, but the offense kind of got us through in the first half. We kept the ball moving, made some shots, and at halftime, the guys just collectively dug in and played a much better second half. So, I think to get this result tonight was big for us.
Was there a conversation with Lowry in particular at halftime because he came out much more aggressive offensively?
No, I did not say anything in particular to Lowry. We tried to change up some different actions that we wanted to put him in to try to put him in a good spot. But, Lowry continues to show us that he's a really, really good player. And, he answered the bell on both ends of the floor tonight. But the second half, he came out with a different aggressiveness, a different physicality, got to the rim, put pressure on their defense. So that's credit to Lowry. I did not say anything to him at halftime.
Was part of your message to the guys at halftime that kind of like, the first team that kind of digs in and gets some stops is going to be in a better spot going down the stretch?
Yeah, at halftime it was just let's recenter ourselves. Let's refocus on the things that we wanted to accomplish tonight on the defensive end, and let's maintain our identity offensively. And we came out in the second half with a different energy defensively. It allowed us to get out and run a little bit, and we continued to move the ball on offense. It was not a screaming, yelling halftime. We had a conversation as a group just about let's refocus ourselves. And, that's a moment where I lean on guys like Mike and Jordan and Lowry and Kelly and Rudy and all the veteran guys, Malik, all of them. They all understand that moment, and they talked as a group, and they came out and did it. I think, it's a good example of the fact that we do have some experience on this team. We have guys that have played a lot of NBA games, and they were able to refocus themselves and get the win.
Mike Conley had a season-high 12 assists tonight. How much of that good ball movement was due to his ability to make the right reads and just to find guys when they needed to be found?
Yeah, Mike was sensational tonight. His timing, playing pick and roll, when to hesitate, when to burst, when to pass, is really, really amazing. And his teammates benefit greatly from that because the ball is delivered on time, and it allows them to catch and shoot or play versus a closeout. So Mike's doing an amazing job leading us on the offensive end with his steadiness and his decision making.
You guys are in first place in the West. Do you have the ability to step back and look at that and enjoy it?
I didn't know that. I really haven't thought about that type of stuff this early in the season. All of us in the room have been around the NBA long enough to know that that doesn't mean anything yet. And so we're really just trying to continue to improve every day as a group, focus on the task at hand. Like, we've got this 3-game road trip coming up. And so, we need to dig in, and there's a lot of things that we can get better at. But I am very proud of our team to be in the position that we're in at this stage of the season.
You spoke very early on in training camp about the need to have these guys in shape and be able to push the pace. Like, as the third quarter kind of progressed and you guys were doing that more often, could you kind of see the Lakers like almost wilting a little? It felt like there was a tangible point where they just felt like they couldn't keep up anymore. Is that like as obvious to you guys as a coaching staff saying continue to keep playing fast?
Yeah, I maybe don't notice it in the same way that you do, because I'm really focused on our team, and I want us to be able to continue to keep that pace, and I think we've shown that we can do that. I do think that our guys, their hard work in the preseason and in training camp is showing up in the second half of games. I'm not sure I can speak to the Lakers' conditioning or anything like that. I'm just focused on our guys, but I think you do see that our team, one, because of their conditioning, and two, because we're not relying on one person, they're able to still have energy as we close games.
Coach, I'm trying to get back to the inception of the ball movement. Was there a team meeting? Was it one-on-one conversation? Like, the habits that you're building with ball movement are just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it every day. We've talked about it every day from the very first day of training camp, that for us to be successful, we have to be a team. And I don't focus on things that our players can't do. I think we try to focus on everybody's strengths and try to accentuate that and put them in positions to be successful. And they're understanding the strengths of their teammates. We've talked a lot about decision-making and making the right read, and if the game tells you to shoot it 10 times in a row, shoot it 10 times in a row. But if the game tells you to pass, you have to pass. And I think our guys have really bought in to that style of play and that thought process, and they're playing with just a lot of passion and joy out there. The ball's flying around. They're happy for each other. Everybody gets to touch it, and nobody feels like they're not included in the game. So it was not like one team meeting, and it's really just been an ongoing conversation with our group.
You're in the process of a very road-heavy part of your schedule. What's kind of the key to having success on that?
Yeah, winning on the road's hard, and I think we saw it some this last road trip. There's tough moments in those games, and you have to maintain your poise. When the home, or when we're on the road, the visiting crowd really starts to pick up their energy and the other team goes on a run, you have to find the ability to adjust and refocus in the moment. It's easy to look back after a game and say, oh, we could have done this or we could have done that better. But winning on the road, you have to be able to kind of block out all of the emotional parts coming from the opposing crowd, and just stay connected to your own group. So, as always, we're going to need everybody on this road trip if we're going to be successful.
What are your thoughts on Rudy Gay's performance tonight? It's obvious he didn't have the season he wanted to last year, but I just thought he was in the right places a lot tonight, and none of his stats really jump out to me. He just seemed to be so much different tonight than what we ever saw last year.
Yeah, I think Rudy, he played well tonight. He's, after coming back from being sick, he's been trying to kind of find his legs a little bit, and I think that he was in the right spots tonight, like you said, but I also think that his teammates did a really good job of delivering the ball to him. The one that stands out is that shot at the end of the third quarter. It was a great pass by Jordan on that drive to get Rudy the catch and shoot in the corner. So, Rudy's a big part of our group. He's a big voice in our locker room. He's been a great leader for a lot of the young players so far, and so, obviously very happy for him to have success tonight.
Yesterday you mentioned Colin, kind of on the weak side wing being a slasher. Tonight Taylor, I thought, did a good job of that as well, along with Colin. why is that spot important in your offense, and kind of what are you looking for when someone's kind of in that spacing position?
Yeah, cutting is a big part of how we play. In order to get 3-point shots up, you have to collapse the defense a little bit and create some pressure on the rim. And some teams are able to do that by one-on-one dribble drive. Some teams do it with pick and roll, a lob threat rolling down the middle of the lane. And for our team with our personnel, the way that we're playing with our spacing, it's cutting that ends up helping us put some pressure on the rim. So I agree with you. I thought Taylor did a good job in that spot tonight. It's a spot that a lot of players on our team will be in and have been in. We've seen Lowry in that spot a good amount this year. Colin last game, as you mentioned. So, it's just a part of how we play to try to create some pressure on the rim.
Speaking of Taylor, he was joking the other day about being the youngest vet in league history. It's weird sometimes to think that he's still only 21 years old. And that he's, still has so much to learn. Where, I guess, have you seen kind of the most growth in his game just in this short time?
Taylor's doing great. He's picking his spots, when to shoot, when to drive. He has a really unique ability to get into the paint with the ball. He seems to find his way into the lane over and over and over again when he has the ball in his hands. So I think the biggest area of growth that I've seen is his decision making. He's continuing to learn when to finish at the rim and when to kick it out. And that's not to say that there isn't, still room for improvement, but I think he's made great strides. And secondly, I really think that he's bought into defending on the ball. I think his physicality, his arms, his length can be very disruptive on that end. So I'm happy with Taylor. I think he's bought into how we want to play on both ends of the floor. And I would also add that I'm not sure Taylor's a vet, but he's doing great. He has seen a lot in his short time in the NBA. But I'm happy for him to continue to see some of the results happen for him because of how hard he's been working thus far with us. I think, it just makes you happy as a coach.
Have you seen his skill set before? It's just pretty unique for a guy his size.
Yeah, to me, it's more the body type. Because he's so strong and his arms are so long, he has a really low center of gravity. Like when he drives, it's hard to keep him out of the lane. I do think that he's a very, very good ball handler. His skill set, have I seen that before? I guess I've seen parts of it, but I've not seen it packaged with that body. He's a force. Like, he really is a force. We saw the big dunk tonight, but, every day in practice, he usually does at least one thing that kind of makes you say, wow, because of his ability to put pressure on the defense, off the dribble.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.